I'm a young, beautiful Chinese teacher. What kind of teacher No, I'm fucking it up, sorry. So what's the first question? Hi, oh, you know what? I forgot to... Oh God, I'm so unorganized. Voila. How are you, Lydia?
Good.
Hi everyone, Regan here, Regan Radio. We're outside today. I've got my friend Lydia with me. I wanted to ask her some questions about teachers and what kind of teacher would you want if you were looking for an English teacher maybe? What kind of teacher I would want if I was looking for a Chinese teacher? What we usually do on this channel is I'll do English and then my friend is going to do Chinese Mandarin, and we just try to make it simple for anyone, help anybody interested in these two languages, English and Chinese. Yeah, so today's theme is kind of like a designer, a teacher, what kind of preferences do you have for the perfect teacher if you could have the perfect teacher? So Lydia, first of all, how are you doing this morning? Thank you for coming out here.
今天有点冷，早上，但是我穿的和之前不一样，跟这个公园特意打扮了一下。
Yeah, she was a bit cold. I'm a little bit cold as well, but we had some sun and now the sun's gone, so we've just got cloudy conditions today. Lydia's very kindly dressed. She's wearing some a lovely qipao today, and I don't know how much, if you can sort of see the top half. She's looking very pretty, but she's a little bit cold, so we're kind of...
Not very cold. 不是很冷。
Okay,
一点点
she's a
冷。
little bit cold. And we're coming into winter now in New Zealand, so it's we're trying to get the last, I don't think we'll be able to shoot outside much more after this, or at least we won't be able to wear sexy cheap. This is not sexy, sorry. We won't be able to wear, I mean it is sexy, but it's not sexy, We won't be able to wear less clothes like that. We'll be in jackets, big down jackets next time. Or we could just, we could just wear cheap, I'm not going to wear a cheap hull, but we could wear something better. Some less. We could wear less. Anyway, before I get lost in fashion, maybe we can jump into a question, yeah? Okay, cool. What was the first question?
我要打人了。
All right, so first question is a great question to talk about how amazing you are and boost your own ego and go on an ego trip. It's basically what kind of teacher, because Lydia teaches Chinese Mandarin here in New Zealand. What kind of teacher do you think you are right now, and what kind of teacher do you think you want to be in the future that you're striving towards?
现在我是 young beautiful Chinese teacher，因为
Trying not to laugh.
因为我的
I mean, you are young. That's true. It's true. It's just funny. Sorry.
因为我的学生说的呀，小学生可能没有见过什么中国美女吧，然后
Yeah, I should say that she says her students say she's beautiful, and then she mentioned primary school kids, but it's not just the primary school. Is it only the kids that are saying you're beautiful?
当然也有成人学生说我好看，因
Oh, okay,
为我们参加文化活动，我们会打扮自己。
So there are older people.
Yeah, 我们有一个报纸就说我们是 City Pretty。 你看了那个报纸？你看了那个报纸吗？
I've never seen this paper before. Is this in the primary school, or is this like a Nelson?
你应该可以看到，我待会儿就给你看。
What's it called again?
City Pretty.
City Pretty. Okay, apparently she's been in the City Pretty magazine, which sounds like a fake magazine newspaper, but
No.
I don't believe it.
No, the title said we are City Pretty.
Oh, okay. I'll put the picture in the video if that's okay. Can I do that? Okay, so she's been in the news. It was a newspaper. It wasn't a magazine. It was a picture, and the title said City Pretty. What was it? City Pretty and Ethnicity, and I'll put the picture up so you can see it. So she was in the Nelson newspaper.
这些都不是重点，但是我自认为我的教学方法还有教学的效果还不错，因为我从他们的反馈，小学生也好，或者是成年学生也好，他们都能给我一些积极的反馈，表示对汉语是有兴趣的。那么我想成为的老师，不是说我有什么样的特点，而是我希望我的汉语课可以就是让他们打破汉语难的这个印象，因为其实汉语并不难，对吧？你学了汉语，你觉得汉语难吗？
I want to say no, but it's quite difficult.
Yes, it's 对你们来说很难，但是其实它没有你想象的那么难。
Yeah. If you just once you break through that little thing at the beginning, there's a bit of a complicated stereotype about Chinese language being like an alien language, right? From another another universe of people, and there's a lot of walls there. But once someone just shows you the basic stuff, it's like everything opens up really fast.
Yeah， 所以就是我不一定是想成为怎样的老师，但是我希望我的课能让他们打破汉语难的这个印象。
Okay, so what about the teacher that you would like to become?
我希望我之后是有经验的，然后教学方法更多样，然后也更有激情的。就是我觉得我现在教的还不错，但是不够，没有很多 passion。
Maybe we can change a spot. See if we can find another spot, and I'll fire another question at Lydia. A very important question that's actually probably not that important really at the end of the day, but a lot of people think it's pretty important, I think, from what I've heard from people that I talk to, but also online, is whether or not you need an attractive teacher and whether or not it makes a difference. And I feel like a lot of people, they want to have an attractive, a beautiful, handsome teacher, right? Do you think it makes a difference? If you could choose, would you rather the sexy or the attractive teacher or someone not so attractive to you? Does it make a difference?
如果是 sexy 的话，那可能有点太过了。sexy 是性感吧？
Yeah.
在中文里对应的是性感，可能你们有别的解释，但我觉得如果是 sexy 的话，可能太过了，因为这样的话，学生很难把注意力集中在课堂和教学内容本身上，而只是在老师的一些 figure 啊这样的点。但是如果老师他是 attractive 的，我觉得这个是 OK 的，因为每一个老师他都有自己的教学风格，人格魅力也非常重要。因为如果你 attractive 的话，那你的课堂可能也会很有趣，也会 attractive，对学生来说有吸引力，那你就会有更多的学生来听你的课，而且你的我忘了有更多的学生来听你的课，然后也会引起学生的兴趣和讨论，我觉得这样是有利于教学效果的，但是就是可以 attractive， 但是不能 sexy。
Okay, so it sounds like you're talking about like they should look good, right? And because looking good can have different levels maybe as well, right? So that when I was thinking about it, you're giving like a very political answer where it's like a very non-biased kind of answer. I think she's trying to emphasize the fact that it's important to just look good, and like everyone can be sort of attractive in their own way, right? Everyone can be attractive, and so maybe just looking good and paying attention to maybe your clothes and like maybe your makeup and your presentation of yourself, like is what she's sort of emphasizing is probably more important than just trying to look sexy, where a lot of students are probably going to get confused by something like that, or distracted, I think is probably the best word, distracted by a sexy teacher, and maybe you're not going to learn. So there's maybe a boundary somewhere, a line where you don't want to go past this line. Because I remember when I was in middle school, I had a very attractive teacher, and she was a big distraction, I think, for a lot of the boys. And I don't know, did you have this issue maybe in your maybe high school time or earlier schooling, where you had attractive teachers that maybe were distracting students? Was this a thing, or do teachers have to dress a particular way in your schools, and they have to be very reserved and quite traditional in the way that they dress?
我倒是没有碰到对我来说很 sexy 或者是很 attractive 的老师，但是有一些女老师很漂亮，然后很多就男学生会喜欢上课，但是他们的学习成绩也不一定会很好，只是说他们会去注意到老师的一些比较好看的衣服呀，或者是长得好看这样子的点。当然他们会对课堂有兴趣，我觉得这也是一件好事，只是说如果太过于只注重老师的衣服或者是着装方面的话，可能就不利于学习的效果。那你觉得你是 sexy 的老师吗
？No. All right, shall we switch it up? Shall we switch it up? Let's switch it up.
噔噔
Oh my
噔
god, there's so
噔。
many like freaking seagulls. Shut up. Seagulls are so annoying. Another question for Lydia is about age. So having different age teachers and whether or not having so other than having like wanting an attractive teacher, which I think a lot of people like and they think it can help in some respects, but we've decided that, or we have concluded that attractiveness is sort of more like not necessarily sexy but just being well presented, and maybe even being slightly fashionable as well at the same time could be a good thing. But also, what about age? So, like having younger teachers, I think, is also another preference that people would like. So, do you think that makes a difference for your, studying and like your success for learning? Does it help to have like a younger teacher or someone older? What do you prefer?
其实如果是我的话，我会选 old。
How old is old though?
当然这个概念就是多大算老呢，或者说多大算大呢？可能在中国30岁就不小了，可能在这边就50岁也挺年轻的。反正我觉得 old teacher 可能就是意味着他的经验更丰富，他有比较多的教学经验，然后他也能总结出自己的一套教学内容和教学模式。所以我会喜欢这样的老师，因为我觉得学习语言的话，尤其是英语，它的语法已经是非常成熟的系统了，那就是讲语法，那怎样去讲的更好，或者说怎样去给学生打下一个比较牢固的基础。所以我觉得就是有经验的老师，也就是所谓的年纪大一点的老师，他可能会讲得更好，因为他能讲得更清楚，或者说循序渐进的去讲。
Yeah, they're just going to be better, more experienced. But they might not be as fun, It's difficult. Like there are some limitations or some differences rather for the different age groups. Like especially for kids, like wanting younger teachers for kids maybe makes more sense, because maybe you don't want all the experience for kids. You actually want someone who's just like full of energy, who's willing to like run around and maybe sing songs and get a bit more crazy, a bit more loose with kids. But for
可能年轻的老师他就是代沟会小一点。
Oh, what's that? What's that? 代沟。
代沟 like age gap。会小一点。然后他跟学生的关系可能就是会相处得更好，但是对我来说这不是必要的。我更希望学习就是关于语言知识更专业的东西，所以我会选择老的有经验的老师。老师或者是年纪大的老师，他也可以很有趣啊，他也可以开玩笑啊，对吧？他也知道现在的年轻学生喜欢什么，所以我觉得还是有经验的老师比较重要。
That's a good point. She's saying like older teachers maybe will perhaps find it more difficult to relate to younger people. You just get old and out of fashion, out of date, and dry and shriveled up. Let me add one more thing in here. Like one thing that I noticed is that because I was working in a university, being younger in a university is good and bad, because maybe you can relate more, like Lydia was saying, to the students. But there's like an element where you're obviously not going to have the same power, the same influence on the students, because you just don't have the grey hair. You don't look like an Albert Einstein. You don't look like some teacher who's been living, many years in books and in libraries, and you still look like a young, fit kid who, I'm not saying I'm a young, fit kid, but I think it helps the age factor. And maybe something interesting is like that's I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I was going to talk about grey hair, but maybe usually I'll say it. Okay. There's a thing like that interested me in China. I started getting some grey hairs in China, probably because of the stress in China, living in China. But people over there, they say like that's a sign of wisdom, you know. But in New Zealand, people just say, "Oh, you're old, bro," and it's like, "Oh shit." So I kind of liked that everyone in China was telling me that it's like I'm becoming wiser with my grey hair instead of getting old. Does that sound true? Or just people being nice to me? Another question I have for Lydia is about I already think I know what she's going to choose. In fact, I already know what she's going to choose for her answer to this question, and I would have guessed that she was going to give this answer. But basically, it's about having a teacher that teaches in a more formal way versus in a more informal way. So, me personally, I like to do a little bit of both. I like to do a lot of games and make things very informal and do a lot of freestyling and stuff. Especially with kids, you know, it was very informal with kids, but then with the older students in university, you'd be trying to mix as much informal stuff into formal stuff as you can because it gets boring. But anyway, let's listen to what Lydia thinks for her teaching, for her preferences. Do you prefer informal or more formal ways of teaching?
我会选 formal 的，因为我现在不是小孩了，我可以 formal。而且我觉得学习语言的话，还是要形成一套体系。
Can I just jump in here? So that's an important thing you said. You said because you're not a kid anymore, you can do formal study. And I think what she means by this is like, what do you mean by that? Like, do you mean because you can sit down in a chair and you don't need to be
Yes,
entertained?
I can focus.
用中文说 focus 吧。
我可以专注的上课。
Okay, so that's important just to clear that up. I wanted to know like why, what does that mean? But okay, I got it. Got it.
就是我认为学习语言还是要成为一套体系的、系统的去学习，它是一个长期学习的过程，所以我
Can I jump in again? Sorry to keep interrupting you, but that's very complicated what you just said, and I don't even know what it means. The first part. So what is that?
就是我认为学习语言要系统的去学习。
Okay.
所以
I mean, 系统的 is kind of like have method, like have a system, right? Okay.
所以我觉得是要 formal 一点，这样就可以形成一个比较专业的学习模式或者是教学模式。但是呢，我觉得formal 的教学不意味着说它不可以有一些 informal 的教学环节，有些环节。
Sure, yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to emphasize before. Like, it has to be formal, otherwise people don't feel like they're getting anywhere. Like, there's no feeling of focus, maybe. And so you're sort of trying to use the informal things to spice up the formal things, yeah.
对，就是如果整体课堂都是 informal 的话，那整个课堂就会太放松，就不适合上课。
And I'm guilty of that. Like I think a lot of students, they perceive me as being more of just a fun, happy rainbows and clowning around and get like this, not a serious kind of teacher. And that's another thing with the being younger as well, which sort of plays into this, yeah.
但你的课堂应该也会很受欢迎。
Like what? 受欢迎? Do you mean like
Popular.
Popular? Okay. Yes and no.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Well, I think it's
that.
popular for the reason that I don't want it to be popular. Like I want it to be popular because students would be like, "Wow, Regan is so interesting and so helpful and so knowledgeable and so motivational and just so wonderful and amazing and incredible and all that." But instead, it's like maybe they like my classes because it's like it's easier. Like it's like less pressure, there's less assignments maybe, and there's like less requirements to have to fulfill, you know, less to do, and you can just chill. And that's not good because in China, like the idea of chilling in a classroom is not like the idea of chilling in the classroom in here. Like you can chill and still learn here, but in China, if you chill, people just like they'd maybe write you off, or they're more likely to think, oh, they're just a play, like a toy teacher, like a play teacher, like a kids teacher maybe, or a fun teacher, and you can be labelled as that. So you have to be there's like a fine line. You have to be careful how you are defined, how you present yourself in China, because they like formalism over there. They like professionalism. You got to dress up, for example. You don't dress up, you're losing points already.
对，就我现在上课的话，我也会就是尽量穿的稍微看起来专业一点，看起来就是觉得我很值得信任的样子，就是我不会穿的太随便。因为尤其是成年学生，大部分都是年纪比我大的，或者是老年人。然后我对于他们来说就太年轻了，但是我希望就是让他们相信我可以教得好，或者是相信我是有这些语言知识可以教授给他们的，所以我就是在着装方面也会穿的比较稍微正式一点，不会太休闲。
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of the Western or the foreign teachers at the schools that I worked at, they always just wear like t-shirt. Well, often they wear t-shirts, shorts and more casual stuff, and that's good. I think it's a good thing, but also in China it doesn't fly very well sometimes. Like if you did have the choice and you do have the clothes, you probably should try to go a little bit more formal. It's worse in Japan. I think in Japan it's like you're basically wearing a suit and you're teaching kids, and it's like what is
可能
that?
会有要求，但也没有就是说一定要穿得多正式，但是有些学校可能会，这就是我个人的选择，就是我会选的看起来更专业一点。
Yeah. So that's what to wear is like a whole nother topic, that's but that's probably more didn't we already do, we did attraction, so this is more like, which one are we talking about now? I've already forgotten which it. Formal and informal. Oh yeah, so we're talking about clothes now. Yeah, if you could choose, you would choose a more sort of formal teacher, and if I could choose, I'd like to have a more sort of informal teacher, someone that I can just talk about my day with, instead of having to start class without really getting to chat about their life and what's happening in their personal life and stuff. Like I like a bit of that. Yeah, I need a bit of that. I need some of that stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we had to get out of here. I think Lydia wants to go to the market, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a coffee, I suppose. So thank you for coming to chat today, Lydia.
You're welcome. 不客气，我应该说不客气。
Yes. All right, and I'll probably, hopefully, see you in the next video. Thanks for listening today. Hope this was slightly insightful, at least. That would be good. Yeah.